guy walking around looking for Batista. Gee, I wonder what's going to happen. You know, and that's what we said before. You know, look at that type of writing and look at the fact that Stephanie McMahon got DDT'd, you know, or Shane got, you know, RKO'd by Randy Orton a few weeks back. That was like an edge. That was like almost reality. Remember, we talked about that. It was almost like reality TV. But now here you go with freaking, you know, the Three Stooges, because that's what I'm going to start calling them now, you know, the Legacy, walking around looking for a dude, you know, because he jumped Ted DiBiase.
So what are you saying? It's the SOS, right? The SOS, the same old. Yeah.
Oh, exactly. You know, and it's like, oh, come on. And then what do you do? Not only do you put the Three Stooges on, right? But then you end up putting your main event on a freaking pay-per-view, which you have been losing buy rates on a freaking television show. You know, and then on top of that,
who did they do that? Who did they do that with a couple weeks ago? It's not coming to me right now, man. They did it a few weeks ago, right before it was WrestleMania, right? Wasn't it a WrestleMania match? Somebody in the chat room's got to know. They did a match. They did a match between two guys that was supposed to be Rey Mysterio versus JBL. Thank you, Super KO from the chat. Remember they did that on Raw. It was the WrestleMania match, Rey Mysterio versus JBL, and they did it on the Raw prior to the WrestleMania. And they did this. They didn't keep the Randy Orton. Well, Vicky did do that thing at the beginning of the show where she said, "I don't care about the no contact stipulation." Da 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 da.
Yeah, that was stupid too.
Yeah, it's things like that, and you can tell that creative is just, you know, sometimes you feel like if you could just get rid of every one of those creative members and bring in a brand new team, but you can't do that because people don't have the knowledge of the wrestling.
It's not even that. There's one man that you point the finger to, and you know who that is.
Yeah, that's true, because all those creative team members are writing for that one guy who is going to approve or disapprove of everything they write. And it seems like that they wrote the same thing to try to make him happy over and over and over again. And it seems so stale. You know what I mean? And then their excuse is, what they say in the conference call about a week and a half, were that they were in a rebranding period, which is true because these guys aren't going to be around forever. I mean, Shawn's not going to be there. Triple H is getting older. He'll be around for a minute, though. The Undertaker, probably a few more years left. You know, these are your main event guys right now. Your Shawn Michaels, your Undertaker, and why wouldn't they be? They've been around for more than long enough and built names for themselves. But the fact is these guys aren't going to be around for years to come. You need to take guys like John Cena, who's a little bit younger, guys like The Miz, guys like John Morrison, who they're going to push as a huge face over on SmackDown. You need to make these new stars now while they can still get the rub from guys like Shawn. I know Shawn's not here right now, Taker's not here right now, but you use those older guys, those veterans, to get the rub on the younger guys, you know, and you have to start doing that right now. And their excuse is, you know, ratings are going to go down. We expect ratings to slip, da-da-da-da-da-da. And then when they do, Vince freaks out. You know what I mean? And Vince finds somebody to blame, which is usually the creative team. And the creative team puts everything through Vince. So you know what I mean? It's like a back and forth battle. The creative team is going to blame Vince. Vince is going to blame the creative team. The main guy, who does it all go through? You know what I mean? So who do you blame? You got to blame. I think Vince is.
You're not going to blame McMahon. I can tell you that.
They're not. Well, not to his face. Not to his face.
No, of course, yeah, definitely not. I mean, you know, obviously Stephanie is the lead writer. She's the one that funnels everything back to Dad. You know, so creative comes in, comes up with all these concepts, comes up with these ideas, goes to her. She looks at them. She makes her tweaks. She has to go through. Obviously, Triple H is actually a part of this process now. And then at the end of the day, it goes to Vince, and Vince sometimes changes most of the stuff, which gives you the reason why we see okay, here you go, 3 guys. Well, 2 guys are going to get jumped. Okay, been there, done that. We're going to throw a main event on TV, been there, done that. And that's the reason why, if Vince, God forbid, nothing bad about it, but if Vince was not head honcho, I guarantee you we would see a lot more cutting-edge, different storylines. I mean, you'll still have the rated PG type of writing because that's just the philosophy the company has, but you'll probably see a lot less recycle angles that makes no sense. I'm okay with recycle angles, but that's only if it brings, and no pun intended, impact to the show. But to have Three Stooges walk around to the back, and then to search for someone, I was waiting for Goldust.
Here's the thing, Jose. When I came into this, right, and I opened the websites, God, I don't know, time flies. We're probably at 13, 14 years ago. Who knows, 10, 13, 14. I used to come out on a Tuesday, all right, and I used to report ratings of 6.1, 6.2, 6.3. I mean, above 6.0. We're now down to 3.3. All right, there has to be a time where, and it's sad to see, because maybe we need people to tune out, and you need to get the raw rating down to a 2.8 or a 2.9 so that somebody clearly sees that this isn't working. You know what I mean? And not too long ago, I mean, guys, just a couple months ago, they were at a 3.7 or a 3.8 rating.
Even a 4.2.
Yeah, even a 4.2, and now you're down to a 3.3. Somebody needs to, and nobody will, because if somebody steps up and tells Vince, hey, dude, you got to get with the times. You know what I mean?
It's not just that, but it's also his mentality, and this is how Vince thinks. His mentality is, yeah, you know what? We may have lost half of our demographics, but we're still one of the number one cable. We still help USA Network. Unfortunately, they lost the first time out of like a year for NBA basketball on TNT. But, almost a year, USA Network was the number one rated cable show. That's the reason why Bonnie Hunter, who runs USA Network's programming, brought Vince back into the fold of USA Network. So Vince has that mentality, yeah, you know what, we've lost all these people, these casual viewers to see our show, but at the end of the day, we're still ranking one of the highest rated shows for that network. And that's the problem, because if it continues sinking to a level to where it's like, okay, there goes the PG, we're going back to the Attitude Era, and I guarantee ratings will increase. It's almost that philosophy. You need to take one step back to take two steps forward. And that's kind of what Vince's excuse of we're in the rebranding stages is because we need to take a step back. So we're going to lose these ratings. We're going to end up going to 2s and 3s. What's going to happen when the NFL season starts back up on ESPN?
That's true, but, there has to come a point where they finally say, all right, we really need to shake things up right now. Stuff really needs to be done. I know you're in a rebranding period, this and that. I hate to say it, but the day Vince leaves that company in some way, I don't, however it happens, the day he leaves that and other people take over, the Stephanies and the Triple H's, I think that'll be the day where we see not the same rehashed stuff that we see on a weekly basis, something new, you know what I mean? And I hate to say it, and Vince has gone on, God, he did an interview a couple of weeks ago where he said something along the lines of, what was it, on the, I think it was on the E60 program where they said, so when are you going to be done? And he says, I'm never going to die. I'm never going to retire. I'm never going to quit, this and that. And I don't know, Vince will be there until the day he dies. You know what I mean?
You're absolutely right. This man breathes WWE.
Yeah, yeah.
When he sneezes, it's WWE. That is just the reality of this man's work habit. It's until he's on his deathbed, God forbid, it's not anytime soon, but if he's on his deathbed, that is when he will stop running WWE. Until then,
my man will be on his deathbed with a creative script in his hand, approving or disapproving of angles till the day he died. Mark my words. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just
absolutely
it's
right.
Hey, I'll tell you what. With that, we got to take a quick commercial break. In hour number 2, we're going to come back and take your live phone calls. We'll do some shout-outs here in just a little bit as well. What do you think, man? During the commercial break, I went to Third Eye Blind this weekend, and what do you say? Play a little bit of their music during the break, and then we'll come back and do what I said. Shout-outs, live phone calls, live chat room right now. Lots of people in there. WZROnline.com/chat, and get your calls in right now for when we come back from the break. 724-444-7444. Call ID number 302-7344.